Hello and welcome back to another episode of Weekly Bee. Today I'm going to be sharing what I have been making lately, and this includes sewing and knitting projects. After working on this one for about 2 weeks, my Sabina skirt is finally finished. Now, I had made this skirt before, but I haven't been reaching for it much, and I'm not entirely sure what is the reason. I don't know if it's because the fabric is too stiff because I used a cotton poplin. I don't know if it's because of the ruffle on the bottom. I don't know why I don't reach for the skirt. So I decided to try the skirt again, but use a different fabric and hack it a little bit. If it's the first time you are hearing about the skirt, let me tell you about all the hacks that I made. So I started by removing the bottom ruffle, but I kept the width of the ruffle and I added it to the length of the skirt because I wanted a long skirt. But to help me with walking around and having a bit of airflow as well, I decided I wanted side slits, which is kind of my thing lately. I've been adding side slits to all of my dresses and skirts. I raised the slits slightly more on this skirt than I did with my previous dress, which was the Lyra dress, because I didn't feel it was high enough. I created the side slits by overlocking the skirt pieces first, then I sewed them together and I stopped sewing where I wanted my side slit to start. Then I folded under the allowance and pressed it in place, which was 3/8 of an inch, and then I went to top stitch it down. The only issue I faced here was I used the same seam allowance to press the fabric under and also stitch it in place. So this meant I just missed catching the fabric under the stitch line. But of course I didn't want to go and unpick all of the stitches because that would take me a long time. I decided to stitch another row of stitches 1/4 inch away from that one and make a feature out of it. I have now on either side of my slit 2 rows of stitching going down, and because I did this for the one side slit, I did exactly the same for the other side slit as well as for the bottom hem, because I just wanted to keep everything looking the same. Then the Sabina skirt calls for a 1.6 inch wide elastic. Now I did have that size in my stash, but I was about 30 centimeters short of it being able to go around my waist. So I thought, okay, let me just buy some quickly. But then I also remembered that's not exactly what I want to be doing this year. I want to use as much of my stash as possible. But I only had a 1 inch wide elastic in my stash. What I decided to do was use the difference between the elastics, which was roughly about 1/2 inch, and stitch that distance down from the top edge. And that created a smaller channel for my 1 inch elastic to be threaded through. And once the elastic was gathered, it created a little ruffle around the top, which I think is quite cute. And to not have that one stitch around the waistband to create the channel a bit lost, I decided to add another 2 rows of stitches on top of the elastic, and I think it just tied the whole look together. I'm hoping to wear this sometime this week so I can get some photos to show you what the skirt looks like once it's worn. Now that the Sabina skirt is finished, I started working on another sewing project, which is another skirt. I have had this fabric inside this folder for roughly about a year, waiting for the day to get started on it, and the time has finally come. I bought this fabric 6 years ago in London with my mom after telling her that I had picked up sewing. My mom studied fashion design, so it was really nice just to be able to walk around the shops, feel all the fabrics, talk about what projects I could make with them, because I was still in my beginning stages. The only issue I have with this fabric now is I'm not as keen as I was on the print of it now as I was back in the day. The more I look at it though, I feel like I am liking it a little bit more, and I think it may be because I'm actually seeing it made up. I'm really hoping that when I do finish the skirt, I really like it and I give it lots of wear. Currently I want to say I'm about 1/3 of the way into this project because I have overlocked and sewn together the skirt front pieces as well as leaving the side slit on one of the legs. I thought about adding a second side slit, but because it's the first time I'm making the skirt, I thought let me just hold off for this time and I'll decide if on my second make I want to add that second slit. I actually don't even think I've told you what skirt pattern I'm working on. It's the Sarah skirt by NH Patterns, and if you haven't heard of it before, definitely go and check it out. I feel this pattern has flown under the radar because I searched for it on Instagram looking for inspiration and I didn't find many makes tagged. The makes that I did find though looked really good on every single body type that I saw, so I'm really looking forward to having this one finished. And by the way, if you are enjoying today's video, please click the like button to let me know. In other news, this Easter weekend, me and my family, we traveled down to London to go and visit my sister and my nephew. And I took along my Roma Necessaire bag. It was the perfect size bag to get all our toiletries in for all 4 of us. And just before we left for the weekend, I had gotten the written instructions for the Roma Necessaire printed off so that I could show you what it looks like. I have made the Roma Necessaire pattern as beginner friendly as possible with 26 steps for you to follow over 56 pages. Every single step comes with color photos, and I've also left a section at the back for you to take your notes down. Recently, I was emailed some work in progress photos by someone who bought the pattern, and it is looking gorgeous. She has made one in a black fabric and has also decided to customize it by adding bows onto it. After seeing her version, I definitely want to make myself a black quilted version because I think it just looks chic. If you have gotten your hands on my pattern, I would love to see any work in progress photos, so please do tag me on social media. While we traveled to and from London for Easter weekend, I knew there was going to be long car trips, so I decided to take with my purple sweater to work on. Now, before I left, I had finished the one sleeve and I finished the cuff off with a folded edge. So during the car rides, I managed to finish nearly all of the second sleeve. I am just a few rows away from actually starting the cuff. Once I finish the cuff on this sleeve, I'm probably going to move on to doing the neckband first, and then I will move on to crocheting some stripes down the sleeves as well. This sweater is nearly finished, and I'm hoping that next week I can get all these final bits and pieces done and have it ready for blocking. And that's all I got up to this week. I would really appreciate it if you could like today's video and subscribe to my channel for more. That's it from me today. Bye for now.